Welcome to the Shut Up and Work podcast. I am one of your wonderful hosts, the coach, and I am joined with my two co hosts, SJ and Rifa. SJ, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, thanks. I hope everybody else is having a good day, doing well.
Great, great. And Rifa, what's going on your side of the fence?
Man, I am doing good. The kids are back to school, so I ain't gotta deal with them all day till later on. So I'm good.
I know what y'all saying, and man, I feel a whole lot better these last couple of weeks. My allergies have been whooping up on me, man, beating the you know what out of me. I've been Glass Joe versus Mr. Sandman. I just been getting knocked all over the ring, but I feel much better today. All right.
Awesome.
So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So real quick, we're gonna take a moment to honor today in Black history. So, who do we have coming up that was born on this day of March 20th? Well, today we have Mr. Willie Lewis Brown Jr., better known as Willie Brown. And as I read here, you'll probably recognize who he is. He was one of America's most successful African American politicians. He was a former Speaker of the California State Assembly and the mayor of San Francisco. Mr. Brown was born on March 20th, 1934, in Minola, Texas, or Mianola, or however you want to pronounce it, potato. And of course, for people out there, Minola, Texas is northeast Texas, just north of Tyler and Longview, Texas. So those are the nearest big cities where his town is, where he was born. So he would move to San Francisco in 1951 when he was 17 years old, and he went on to graduate first from San Francisco State University in 1955. And then, after graduating from the University of California, Hastings College of Law, he then became a lawyer. After being elected to the California State Assembly, Mr. Brown served the state as a legislator for over 30 years, of which 15 he served as a Speaker of the California State Assembly. He would lead the assembly to become the first elected African American mayor of San Francisco. That's where he's most popular known. And Brown, of course, served as mayor of San Francisco from 1996 until 2004. And not to go into too much detail of that, but he was married to someone who is now the vice president of the United States of America. That's how she got her come up. Just wanted to throw that in there. So, anything y'all want to say about Mr. Willie Brown?
Man, I wasn't aware of that, but thank you for educating me on that one. That's an awesome accomplishment.
Yeah. And
Same.
yeah, most definitely, since he's from the state of Texas here.
Them Texas boys.
Yeah, always accomplishing, always getting into things we shouldn't be getting into. I'm just messing around. All right. So, without further hesitation, let's jump into the topics. I'll be going first today. And what I wanted to briefly discuss or kind of discuss here in this segment is I just wanted to talk about one of the things that helped me survive a toxic work environment was staying out of debt. And let me explain this. So, first off, a toxic work environment, if you're working in there, as people know, it can cause you a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, where you don't want to go to work. And what can be a toxic environment? Here are a few examples. It can be your job where you're not being promoted if you're going above and beyond. The boss is just looking at you and just saying, oh, I don't give a shit. You keep working hard and you do what you're supposed to do, but you never find that chance to move into upper management or into a position that you may love doing. Another example of a toxic environment. If you have a shitty ass boss who disrespects you all the time and disrespect you by either verbally humiliating you in front of all the workers or anything in that nature, as Rifa gave an example of that in the previous podcast. Or you could have a boss that just totally ignores the good work that you're putting in and know that you're doing this and you're going above and beyond. And again, they're just not paying attention to you and they still give you the same evaluation. Another thing could be your coworkers and all their unethical behavior that's going on in the office, where they could be doing everything from snitching to politics to everything, just glorifying and backstabbing you every turn that you take. So those are some things that can cause a toxic environment and the situations to make you start hating your job. How do I know? I've been there, just like a lot of people are dealing with and have dealt with in the past. And on top of these issues, you have to keep your job because you have debt, and which adds to your stress and unhappiness there in the workplace. And then a cycle starts where you get up every morning and mentally try to prepare yourself to go to this job or this toxic place you work at. And I say prepare yourself, but I used to call it lie to yourself and try to tell yourself that, oh, your boss is not that bad. Oh, your coworkers, they just misunderstood. Maybe it's just me. And it's all because you're trying to stay above water due to your debt. You know that you have to pay bills. And if you lose your job, you're going to fall and sink in the ocean of debt and drown in the sea of life. And then if that happens, well, you're going to end up moving back with your parents or trying to move in with a friend or family member, or you're just going to be homeless and out on the streets. So what solves this issue? And what can solve this issue, as I stated, is by being debt free. Now, why do I keep mentioning being debt free? Well, because with me, once I paid off all my bills and I didn't have no car payments, no credit cards, nothing that I didn't need, just the basic bills, which was electricity, internet, and probably a little bit of cable. It became like a wall or a fort for me once my debts were gone. And it kept my coworkers out of my space because I didn't care what they were fussing about or who they were trying to snitch on or who they were trying to backstab. It allowed me to keep them from a distance and just say, hey, man, if you're not talking about the game or some movie or something at the cooler, move on. I'm not interested. So it kept me from getting into that mix and getting into that toxic environment. Another thing that helped, as I mentioned earlier, is my boss's evaluations and his or her opinions of me didn't matter anymore because I felt more secure. I was saving money. I had money stored away for an emergency fund, as Dave Ramsey and those people say. And I felt secure. So if my boss didn't appreciate what I was doing or tried to downplay something that I was doing, it didn't matter. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm going to go home and work on my side hustle and work on not only just being debt free, but eventually getting up out of here on my own accord and because of my own creation or whatever I'm doing outside of work. And then the last thing, I didn't give a damn no more about being promoted or not, or looking for that dream job inside of that work organization. Because as I just stated, hey, I created my own thing that I'm doing. I'm getting paid. I'm building up. I have a savings, I have an emergency fund, I have all these things. Now, my next step is just to fill out this damn resignation letter and tell you to go jump off a damn cliff and kiss my black ass. So that was one of the main things that helped me get out of a toxic work environment and become financially free, which was getting out of debt in that situation. So, with that being said, who wants to come up to the mic first?
Okay, I guess I'll kick it in. So,
Yeah, that was a long pause.
so I'm kind of glad you brought it out that situation because my past full time employment to where I was with a company for like 14 years, and again coming in to the company, I came in as a manager. So from what I learned prior to applying for that job is you always want to apply a little higher than the previous job you had because once you get in, it's real difficult to move up to the next level. So,
Correct. Agreed.
so with that said, I mean, I came in as a manager, and within like 6 months of me being there, the boss had some expectation that she wanted me to reach, and even though it's a new company, as far as the details and the actual job that I do is something that I've been doing for the past 10 years prior to me getting a job with them. So anyway, 6 months into it, she's telling me that things are not working out. Oops, things are not working out, and pretty much trying to run me out. And mind you, I done moved from Dallas all the way to San Antonio, left everybody and anything that I know back in Dallas. So I pretty much got nowhere else to go.
Right.
So it's one of those situations like, I'm not going to let you run me out just because you decided that, things ain't working out. I mean, but the problem is like, with the new company, they have so many, I guess, rules and regulations and things that they do that wasn't like the previous job I was doing, even though it was the same concept. But it was going to take me a little while to get acquainted with the way that company operated. So, with that being said, as far as being financially able to not stress about that kind of situation, so when that happened, of course, I started, my defense mode came up to where, hey, look, I need to have something on the side because this lady's trying to get rid of me, and I just got here. And
Right.
of course, I hung around. Long story short, end up, another 10 years with them. But the fact that that situation happened to me earlier into when I started with the company, that kicked up a defense again to where I started saving money to where I don't want to be in a situation where I'm getting fired and now I've got nothing to fall back on. I can't pay my bills. So, I mean, I started saving money just to have that backup, emergency savings and stuff like that. So, that kind of, kind of relate to what you were talking about. So, I mean, that got rid of a lot of stress. And the year later, I became the top performance for that company, and for San Antonio. So again, it was just
Oh, snap.
I know, eye opener. Like, oh crap, I gotta do something because this ain't working. This ain't gonna work if I'm in a situation where somebody gonna move me 4 hours from Dallas, and then 6 months later say, well, it ain't working out, and I just did, Anyway, so that helped me to create my own savings and 401k and stuff like that. So again, by the time the company went out, they eventually went out of business. But again, I was in a financial situation where I was comfortable to where I'm not really stressing about anything right now.
Amen to that, brother. I love that. All right, SJ.
This is such an interesting topic. I 100% agree with both of you. I'm just going to have to bring up the fact that there are a lot of people who are living paycheck to paycheck already. So they're making just enough to pay their bills.
Hmm.
And they really don't have the luxury of saving that money. Now, I'll be 100% honest. A lot of the times I look at people and I see, like, okay, you do have room to save, but you're choosing to spend whatever extra money you have on X, Y, or Z, whether
Right.
that's shopping or entertainment or, DoorDash. So there's that. But there are so many people in the country who are, again, living paycheck to paycheck. They're getting, there's a big debate in the country about what the minimum wage should be, what fair pay is. We've all heard about during the during the pandemic, excuse me, how people are not coming back to work, or people can't find good workers, and it's because people were forced and put into a situation where they had to stay home and they already lost their income. So now they found that they can't really afford to go back to work because of childcare or because of transportation or whatever the case may be. I don't think it's as simple as people just don't want to work. So
Right.
of course, I think it's a great idea to save. Personally, I'll tell y'all, I do save. I've always been a saver. My parents instilled that in me. However, in the situations where I've gotten into trouble professionally and jobs didn't work out, kind of like what you were mentioning, Rifa, it took me so long to get the next job that I pretty much depleted those savings. And I
Yeah.
had to start over again, not once, not twice, more than 3 times. So I definitely understand that. I do think that's a great idea. One of the things that helped me was getting a second job.
Yeah.
When I got a second job, I was able to save pretty much the entirety of that salary,
Hmm.
while still living off of the compensation from the first job. But again, depending on your circumstances, depending on your skill set, whatever the case may be, you may not be able to do that. But I think it's a great goal, something that everybody should think about for sure and try to do. Definitely try to do. None of us want to be in a situation where we have to stay at a job that we hate, and a job where we are not respected, and a job that's really, stressing us out, making us sick, any of those things. So it's always a good idea to be financially responsible, plan ahead, and have that safety net.
Most definitely. And as both of you mentioned, I stayed on the job, 17 years. So that I had anxiety and stuff like that. Now I moved around in different positions and I got a couple of promotions out of that. But still, as you stated, SJ, what I did first, the first thing that I did was I went out and got a second job. And that second job didn't work out right. I called myself trying to be a damn sell appliances for Sears.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. And it was so funny because it was commission based with this job, and I was like, oh damn, I thought I was just getting paid hourly. And the funny thing, they would pay you hourly, but every day when you came into work, they would give you a goal. Like they would say, you need to sell $3,000 worth of appliance. And say if you did have this lucky week where people were buying appliances from you, you had all these sales, and then you would calculate your check. Oh, I'm gonna get 10% of this. I sold $5,000 worth of stuff. So that means my check is gonna be $500. Wrong. If you didn't sell nothing the previous week,
They
they
deduct.
paid you hourly. What they would do, they had this thing, I think it was called a drawback or a cashback or some shit like that, where they take back the money that they paid you previously when you didn't sell anything. And then when you do hit that hot streak, you're thinking, oh, my check is going to be this much amount. And it's like, they're going to take half of that amount to make up for what they had to pay you hourly, which I'm kind of happy that place went out of business with that kind of messed up thing.
Wow.
No.
Don't say that. I spent 15 years with Sears, so don't do that to me.
I don't know. That sounds completely unethical to me.
Yeah, but that's how the system worked, man. And it was hilarious because the supervisor at Sears would ask, "Oh, how come you're not selling anything?" Well, she scheduled you for a Monday or Tuesday to work like a 3 or 4 hour shift in the mall. Ain't nobody in the damn mall at no Monday or Tuesday except some damn teenagers running around trying to steal. Who's coming to come buy a refrigerator on that day? Most people that are going to spend money, they're going to come either on a Friday evening or a Saturday during the day to come and buy the big stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, because they're working the rest of the time.
Right. So that was hilarious. But the job that did the second job or the second side hustle that did save me, I would say that got me out of debt was in the sports world. When I started refereeing and coaching and doing things like this, um, at first it seems minimal. They pay you, I think back then they were paying around $35 a game when you referee at these different leagues once you went to training and all this stuff. And at first it seemed small, but as you do more games, the checks just roll in and it starts adding up. You may do 2 games on a Tuesday night, 2 games on a Thursday night, then Saturday, you may work for 6 or 8 hours doing games. And, the money just started rolling in. You start having checks, 300, 400, $500. And when they're coming in on a consistent basis every week, then it's like, oh, there you go. You start saving and you're able to build up your emergency fund and make sure that you have enough money so that, like we said earlier, if your job starts to tripping on you or you end up losing your job, you still got some form of income that is still coming in that situation.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And just to go back on the commission stuff. So I mean, I did some commissions to myself. So
Uh-huh.
usually, if you do not make the commission, they pay you whatever the minimum wage is.
Right.
So again, and if there's a week or so when you make when you make, they do take that money back. So I
Uh,
guess one of the things that kind of helped me out. I mean, again, is most me growing up, like my folks wasn't really around, and I mean, I wasn't. No one showed me that. Hey, you need to get a 401k. You need to have all these savings on the
right.
side to where your company. I mean, that you make money on the side. Because when I was going to college, I had a full ride in football and also between football and track. So all
Mm,
the extra money I was making, I was going clubbing, dancing, buying things that I don't need. So I'm guessing toward the end of my college career is when I realized that, you know what, I could have saved all this money, instead of going
right.
all that drinking and stuff like that. So, like SJ said, yeah, there's some people that are working paycheck to paycheck, but
Hmm.
they got to make that move. They got to make the move to where you have some kind of saving, because one of the thing about saving is, if you already scheduled to the money, let's say you taking $100 out of every paycheck,
Right.
and mind you, that money is already taken before you even get your actual paycheck, so you
Uh,
don't see it. So I mean, I think black folks need to get in a situation where they start learning how to be financially stable, to where
right.
and a lot of people, a lot of white people or other ethnicity, uh, if they're growing up, I think there's a lot of stuff that's going on, to where either the family's saving money for them or they put money to the
Mm,
side. I think if black folks start doing the same thing, we'll be better off, to where it'll get you off of that uh, paycheck to paycheck. I mean, there's gonna be some bumpy roads, but at least
right.
it won't be a situation where, like, you know what, now I gotta go rob somebody or something.
Exactly. Exactly. And I totally agree with that. And you bring up an excellent point, Rifa. I mean, my parents didn't teach me about financial education either. All it was is, boy, you want to go get a good job and you can take care of yourself. And that was it. That's all that they told you. And I had to go out and learn it. And I had to go out and research and read books to educate myself financially, which now I'm thinking that's more important. And this is something that I'm trying to push on the younger black kids before they even head off to college. It's like, hey, you need to take a hour a day or, 2 or 3 times a week where you need to be reading something and trying to understand financially little investments and things like that, because those things are going to help you down the road. And those things are going to help you achieve financial freedom much faster than what I achieved. And then, as you said, Rifa, probably than what you achieved and everybody else. Because you may not have to stay at a job for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You may be able to say, hey, I could work here 5 or 10 years and quit. And then I'm set. I could just go do some side hustles for some money over here, day to day to sustain me. And then that's all you need to survive. So, as you said, Rifa, I wish my parents would have educated me more on that too. I mean, all they could tell me about is a savings account. Save enough money for a rainy day. Well, I'm like, well, shit, it's raining outside. So can I at least buy an umbrella? What the hell?
Yeah, so let people, one thing to be understood: savings account don't make you no money.
Right.
So again,
Or checking.
yeah, we're trying to get people educated. So do CDs. If you have to
Right.
move your money from one bag to another, you got to keep your financial stuff on point, because if you don't move it, okay. So for instance, I think I had like $3,000 one of my account, and originally they gave me, it was like a 3 point something APR for like 3 years, and my dumb behind forgot to when the maturity day came, I missed it. So the company had I think they had like a 5 point something, which was highest, but guess what the bank gave me? They gave me the lowest APR they have, because again, if you're not looking at your money, and they ain't no worried about your well being, they out there trying to use your money to make money. So,
Right. Another great point. Yeah, the more money you have in savings, the more they can go out and loan other people money.
yeah, move your money around. Don't keep it one spot.
Right.
Well, not only that, but yeah, my parents did do a great job teaching me about saving money and being responsible with money. But things are constantly changing every day. So really what I'm working on, like you said, coach, is I'm working on making more money and passive streams of income as well.
Yeah.
I'm not really fond of the high risk. I don't consider myself a gambler. There are some little tricks with that, but that makes me wonder, what do y'all think of cryptocurrency? Are y'all into that?
I don't mess with it. No. My main thing is just easy, low hanging fruit. So I do a little bit of real estate investing, and we'll get in the detail of that in one of these episodes, and stock dividend investing. So I think those are simple things. Stock dividends, anybody can go out there and open up an E-Trade, Charles Schwab, Ameritrade. They can open any one of those accounts and then just buy
Stocks.
companies that pay dividends every quarter. Just buy 3 or 4 or 5 companies that pay dividends and just put money in that. Take $50 or $100, as Rifa was explaining earlier, and just buy stock every time Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Walmart or UPS or FedEx or Target, any of these places that you use on a normal basis, that you go to or that you drink or eat or something in that nature. And that there's many other people who go in these places, shop, eat, and drink also. So I just look at simple things like that can help you reach your goals. And again, maybe in an episode in the future, we'll go in deeper detail of, you know, how you can invest in these things and build your portfolio to where it can help you get to that goal that you're trying to reach at an earlier age.
Good point. I don't mess with crypto because again, I'm not too familiar with all the ins and out. But it's to me, it seems like it's a lot of risk.
Hmm.
So my deal is always like, I have like about 10K to where like just example for like I'm my 10K, I'll do like 6 or 7K on stable investments. And
Right.
every now and then I will go like maybe 2,000 with some, just I mean
A
throwing out there
risky.
risking, yeah. So that and even with the risk, it's one of those where once you get into it and get
Yep.
started, keep your money in. Don't pull it because the
Right.
market fluctuate up and down. So
Right.
when people panic and start pulling money out, that's when you end up losing my money on it.
I forgot that saying by one of these investors. I don't know if it was Warren Buffett or another guy, but they always said when people panic, in other words, he called it when there's blood in the streets, he was like, that's the time to buy
That's
when
the time to
people are
buy.
panicking. Yeah. And running from whatever they're running from because the market is not doing well or whatever situation or news information that they hear this from.
But you also got to know, like, these people got so much money. They could have. I mean, again, with everyday people,
Mm.
you don't have that much to be able to risk. So
Yeah.
Warren Buffett and stuff, they'll tell you, "Oh, hang around." But I mean, you just have to make sure you are on top of your financial stuff. So, because you can always move from a risk once that time period is up to a stable. But you just got, you have to be on point on it or hire a company to do it for you. But again, if you don't want to lose, I mean, but you have to pay them to do that service. But a lot of this stuff, I mean, it's not like you got billions of money to where you got in different banks.
Right.
If you do your research, you should be able to manage your own money again and start early. As soon as you start working at 16 years old, I wish I would have started when I was 16. Out,
I
putting
know.
money to the side, but this is one of the stuff you learn later on in life. So my kids, man, as soon as they turn 14 years old, I'm putting them to work.